Welcome to Speak English Now podcast with your host, Georgiana, the podcast that will help you to speak English fluently with no grammar and no textbooks.
Hello, everybody. I am Georgiana, your English teacher and founder of SpeakEnglishPodcast.com. My mission is to help you to speak English fluently. Speaking English is easier than it seems. You just have to use the right material and techniques. In today's episode, I'd like to give some tips on how to spend your summer vacation, and you'll speak English with a mini story. Before I go any further, I'd like to thank you for listening. I'm also a language learner, and I can identify with you and your goals, so I want to help you. Do you know how you can help me? It would be great if you could share my podcast with your friends, or write a review on iTunes, YouTube, or my Facebook page. Okay, let's start. Time passes so quickly. I can't believe it's already August. And speaking of time, this is the last episode of the season. I'm going to take a short vacation to rest. But don't worry, because I'm going to upload a selection of episodes from the other seasons, so you can continue practicing your English. So I'll be back in September with new, highly refreshing content. But in today's episode, I thought it might help you to think about what activities you can do during the summer vacation. So let's see what you could do during this vacation. A very healthy activity that you can do is to go to a natural spot and enjoy nature. The idea is to relax and forget about exams or deadlines. Of course, you can take the opportunity to do a little exercise by going for a walk. Ideally, you should find a place without too many people, especially children. I'm sure that in your country, there are many places where you can quietly enjoy nature. Okay, if you get bored of so much nature, you can do the opposite. You can wander around the city where you live. The word wander means to walk without a specific destination. The idea is to rediscover the city where you live. Just let yourself be carried away and contemplate where your steps take you. We don't do this kind of activity daily because we're always in a hurry, but now you have a good excuse. Have you thought about sleeping under the stars? I know this sounds very romantic, but I believe that if the weather is pleasant, it is worth spending a night contemplating the night sky while we sleep. But remember that the sun comes up very soon, and that you won't be able to sleep with so much light. The advantage is that you will be able to see the sunrise as well. And how about watching classic movies? Today we are very used to watching the latest series and movies, although we shouldn't forget about the classic films. So it's a good time to rediscover films that marked an entire era. The quality won't be 4K, but you'll find real gems if you watch films from the 60s, 70s, and 80s, for example. Well, these were my modest suggestions for your summer vacation. Obviously, you can opt for the usual and go to the beach and get tanned. You can also take the opportunity to travel to another country. I like both. I want to relax on the beach, but I also want to discover a new city as a tourist. And before I continue with the mini story, I'd like to answer a common question. I'll briefly explain the difference between my courses and the podcast. I offer the episodes of the podcast for free, so that students all over the world become familiar with my method. My English courses are separated from the podcast, and they are complete programs designed to improve fluency through stories with the questions and answers and the point of view lessons. Initially, the lessons are easier, and the difficulty increases little by little. The first lessons are shorter, and I speak a little more slowly, This way, you will adapt better to the whole program. In addition to that, you have a step-by-step guide so that you can get the most out of my courses. For more information about my courses, go to courses.speakenglishpodcast.com. Okay, let's continue with the mini story. How does a mini story work? I give you information and I ask you simple questions. After each question, there's a pause where you can answer. After the pause, I give you a correct answer for you to compare. It seems easy, right? Well, at first, it may be a little more difficult. I recommend that you listen several times until it's easy to answer. Sometimes I call it a conversation simulator because you can practice your English like in a real conversation. Let's start. Peter wandered around the city whenever he could. Did Peter wander or run through the city? He wandered. He walked without direction through the city. Where did Peter wander? Through the city. He wandered through the city. When did Peter wander? Whenever he could. Peter wandered around the city whenever he could. In fact, all Peter did was wander in his spare time. Did Peter eat in his spare time? No, he didn't eat. He wandered. Did he dance in his free time? No, he just wandered. He just walked aimlessly. Did Peter have a street food stand? No, not at all. He just wandered. He didn't have a street food stand. In fact, Peter set up a wandering club. Did Peter set up a GPS fan club? No, he didn't set up a GPS fan club. He set up a wandering club. Who set a club? Peter. Peter set up a club. What kind of a club was it? It was a wandering club. The club organized group trips to cities so that people could wander. Did the club organize trips to small towns? No, the club did not organize trips to small towns, but to cities so that people could wander. What did the club organize? Family gatherings? No, the club organized group trips to visit cities. Unfortunately, the club had to close because members got lost every time they wandered around a new city. Was it fortunate that club members got lost? No, not fortunate. It was unfortunate that they got lost. Did the club have to close or open? Close. The club was already open, but it had to close. Why did the club have to close? Because members got lost every time they wandered around a new city. Who got lost? Peter or the club members? The club members. They would visit a city, start wandering aimlessly, and end up getting lost. Poor people. They wanted to walk without direction, but they always got lost. That's why the club had to close. Perfect! It's the end of this mini story. Through questions and answers, you can practice and improve your speech, just like in a real conversation. If you want to get hours of audio with mini stories and point of view lessons, I'd like to recommend to you my fluency course. You can get it at fluency.speakenglishpodcast.com. Well, that's it for today. And don't forget, I'll be back in September with new exciting episodes. Take care and enjoy your summer vacation. Bye-bye.
Did you enjoy today's episode? Get the transcript now at speakenglishpodcast.com. speakenglishpodcast.com.